Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is another Wednesday, and we are here with another amazing actress. Hello, Leah Platt from Funny Girl. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well.
That's great. And Leah, you play Emma on Funny Girl. That's coming to Cleveland here very soon. Tell me what is your role like on Funny Girl?
Yeah, so I play Emma, and for people who don't know the show that well, I'm basically Fanny Bryce, our main character's dresser. I help her get dressed throughout the show, but also more importantly, I'm kind of her friend from the beginning of the show all the way through her career to the end. So I'm kind of one of the through characters that's just kind of seen her through all the different stages of her life.
And tell us more about the show. Like, what is the show about? So I hear it's musical comedy heaven. So what is that about?
Yes. So Funny Girl is a show that was created in the 60s. It was kind of the star vehicle for Barbara Streisand. That's how most people know it. But at its core, it's really a show about a young Jewish girl who really believes in herself, that kind of has faced a lot of adversity. Fanny Bryce, who is a real person, although her real life and the show are not exactly the same. It's based off of her life, but it's not exactly truthful. But it's about this woman who kind of goes from being someone who is kind of trying to fight everyone at every different turn. They're kind of telling her that she doesn't look good enough. She's not, good enough at what she does, but she kind of rockets to international stardom and kind of what that journey looks like for her, as well as falling in love with a man and kind of trying to create a life with someone, Nick Arnstein, who is in some ways perfect for her and in some ways just not the right guy. So it's kind of dealing with her home life and how that manifests and affects her life as a star.
That's amazing. So tell me more about your character. So you say you're the dresser for Fanny. What
Mhm.
what is that? What does that entail? Like what like are you? So tell me more about it.
Yeah. So I my character, you kind of meet her when she first goes to the Ziegfeld Follies, which were a real giant show that happened in New York around the turn of the century in vaudeville era. They had women in beautiful costumes and giant headdresses, and it was like the whole nine yards, really. So towards the beginning of the show, Fanny goes to the Ziegfeld Follies and she starts to work with Ziegfeld and like be in those shows, and that's where you meet Emma. She's kind of like the person who's behind the scenes most of the show. Like I literally do dress her on stage behind a screen. I do a quick change for her. So it's a little bit meta. I'm like playing a dresser, but I'm also dressing her at one point in the show. But yeah, so she meets her kind of at the beginning when she's still really kind of young and crazy. And she meets Nick Arnstein for the first time, and Emma's kind of there watching the whole thing happen. And then throughout the show, Emma eventually starts living if at Fanny's house. They get a house out in Long Island. And Emma's living there. She's definitely like working for her, but it's one of those kind of like full time live in jobs. So she is privy to the fighting that she sees between Fanny and her husband Nick. So it's kind of like an interesting role to be right outside of the drama that's happening and the drama of the play, and kind of be a lens that is seeing this main character from beginning to end. And I'm in the final scene too, where I won't give spoilers if you want to go see it, but like I'm kind of there throughout the entire arc of the character's journey.
So you tell me. So you said earlier that it's like a journey of like you're not good enough, and it's a journey of her life of Fanny. Can you tell me like is there like a message in the show? Like is there something that the audience will take away from the show?
Yeah, I think what's interesting about this show is that I feel like everyone comes to see it for the music. Like people know like Don't Rain on My Parade, and they know people, and they might know I'm the Greatest Star if they're theater people. So I feel like everybody kind of like knows the music, but they have no idea what the plot is. It's like one of those famous shows where you're like, "Oh, I know it, but do I really know it?" So I think that people are going to be surprised walking away from the show by how like moving and touching it is. I know that when I saw this show on Broadway, I saw it I think 3 times actually on Broadway. I kept going into it being like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch this because I think I'm gonna be good for this show and I wanna see what it's about." And I would be sobbing. Like I was genuinely emotionally moved and excited and laughing and stressed for the main characters. So I think that I think people are going to walk away from it being like really touched. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what the message is because it's hard. There's like so many different sides to it. Some people walk away from this show and they have really strong opinions about what she should have done with her home life and her, romantic life. And other people are like, no, she's a badass. She should have done this. Like people have different opinions. So I think that's really what the point is to make you think and to make you wonder what is the right choice in life.
That's great, and you're right. There's a lot of people know the music from it, and that's me. I know the music from it. I don't know the show very well. So speaking of the music, like, what is your favorite song? Would you say from the show? Is it like one of the hit songs, or would you say that there's another song that a lot of people don't know that it's your favorite?
I think I also understudy Fanny, so I get to sing some of these songs sometimes, which is really fun and gorgeous. I think I have two favorites, which is the music that makes me dance is kind of like her 11 o'clock ballad, and it's just this like absolutely heartbreaking, beautiful song about feeling so like unbelievably attached to someone and not being able to move on. And I kind of think that that like emotional journey, and especially towards the end of the show where you're like exhausted and you've gone through so much already and it's almost the end, but you're like, I'm just gonna belt this one last thing out one more time. And it's just like, it's so gorgeous. The orchestrations in this show are unbelievable. So that's like one of my favorites. And then my other favorite is towards the beginning of the show. There's a song called Cornet Man, which probably most people don't know, but it's kind of like a jazzy vaudeville number. It's the first time that Fanny is performing on stage for an audience, and it's just like fun and it's dancey and it's silly and it's really like a good time versus like an emotional time.
That's awesome. All right, so let's gear towards your past now. I saw that there was a couple other shows that you were in, including you were also on Disney Cruise Line, and you
Mhm.
played Elsa.
Yes.
So tell me about that experience. So how was it different from being on land to sea? Like, I've talked to a bunch of people where they're like, it took me a while to get used to it. There's sometimes where you're already used to it. Like, what was that transition like?
Yeah. Um, Performing on a boat was an incredibly challenging experience. It's for a lot of different reasons. The performing aspect of it all, um, it's you have a boat that's literally moving underneath your feet. So some days it's rocky and some days it's not. But beyond that, you're kind of just in this closed loop environment the entire time that you're on board, which is really kind of challenging. When you're on tour, you get to see the world, you travel the country, you get to like go to all these cities and learn about where you are and eat the good local food and everything. On working on a ship, you're really kind of on a ship, which is just a very different experience. But the shows we did on Disney Cruise Line were absolutely incredible. I mean, like really high quality, great talent. The directors we worked with from their creative team they're some of the best people I've worked with. So it was really like a fun, fulfilling experience artistically and like fun to do those shows and, kind of be characters that I've always watched in movies when I was growing up. But definitely a different experience than touring.
For sure. And have you toured before this? Oh, I see you're a fiddler on the
Yeah.
roof.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question: what would be one piece of advice you would give to someone that's new to touring?
Yeah, new to touring.
Yeah,
I think that one of the best pieces of advice I can give is to make wherever you are feel like home. So like whether that means you get like a candle that you like or like bring your slippers or bring your robe, like bring the things that make you feel comfortable because in this job we are constantly on the road, we're constantly in hotels and Airbnbs and like just picking up and moving every 5 seconds. So if you can find the things that make you feel comfortable and happy that are you can bring with you, I think it's really, really helpful. And also it just kind of makes the days like enjoyable. You don't want to just be like getting through tour. You want to be enjoying yourself and feel like this is your life.
And what's one thing that you would have told yourself from now? What was one thing that you would go back and tell yourself when you first started? Like, what's one thing that you tell yourself
That's a great
that you
question.
could have?
Um, I think that I would tell myself to just be patient. I think that there's a lot in this industry that feels like you should be getting things done and booking things and making strides, especially like when you come from school where you're constantly moving forward in the world and there's kind of tangible goalposts that you're trying to get. When you are in the real world and probably in any industry, but especially in the theater world, there's no goalposts to achieve. There's no direct path. There's no like ladder to climb. So I think just kind of having a little bit of patience and some of like the inner confidence and inner understanding of who you are is like the most important part. You kind of just have to hold on to that as long as you can. Otherwise, you're going to be lost.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. Sorry. Let me ask you this: what is your one thing you like to do in every city when you go to a new city?
Oh,
Is there
I
like
always find a good coffee shop.
coffee? Nice.
Good coffee shop, like get like a fancy drink, get like a little snack. We call this our hobby. Is just to like go get ourselves a little treat.
So the girls from Six I just talked to a couple months ago, their favorite thing was to go to a new cat bar or a cat shop.
Oh my
So
god,
the girls would find a new cat coffee shop in every city.
I love that.
So that was a fun one. So
We
coffee
even
is definitely the top.
we went to a dog bar in Orlando that was it was so fun. There were just like a million dogs everywhere, and they would like come up and sit on our laps for like the entire time. It was the best. It was so fun.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Well, Leah, thank you so much for joining us. Funny Girl is going to be at Connor Paulus Theater February 20th through March 10th, a part of the Keep Broadway series. Tickets are still available at playhousesquare.org. Come check out this funny musical comedy heaven for a limited time here in Cleveland, a part of the Keep Broadway series. Leah, thank you so much again. We can't wait to have you starting next week. Don't forget, go check out all of our fun stuff here in Cleveland when you're here. Have you been to Cleveland yet?
No,
Is this
I've
the
never
first
been to
time?
Houston. First time.
First time. So you have to go check out like the Rock Hall and our art museum. They're both top of the line here. So you'll the Rock Hall is a great one for new. That I tell everybody that comes here. If there's one day off that you want to spend it at the Rock Hall because it's you won't see it anywhere else. It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
So, all right, Leah, thank you so much again. Once again, if you want to see Leah at and the entire cast of Funny Girl, they'll be at Connor Palace Theater February 20th through March 10th. This was Cleveland Stage Show. We'll be back next week with another interview. We appreciate it, Leah. Thank you again. We'll see y'all next week.
Thanks.
Bye, y'all.
Don't tell me not to live, just sit and putter. Life's candy and the sun's a ball of butter. Don't bring around a cloud to rain on my parade. Don't tell me not to fly, I simply got to. If someone takes a spill, it's me and not you. Who told you you're allowed to rain on my parade? Oh, much my bad. I'll be my drum, and if I'm found out, your turn at bat, sir. At least I didn't fake it, hat, sir. I guess I didn't make it. Get ready for me, love, 'cause I'm a comer. I simply got